What's up everyone, I'm No BS Audio, and today we're going to be talking about why Bluetooth isn't actually that great. So this is a topic that's important to me because it coincides with a lot of my own feelings about technology as a whole. I think a lot of people view technology as sort of just getting better. It's like this forward march into better and better technology, and things get cheaper and they get more convenient, and there's no real reason to go back to older technology. Why would you buy an old TV? Why would you buy an old car? And a lot of those things have got objectively better, but this is an area where I feel like people just sort of assume that things have gotten better, and that's not necessarily the case. So I want to kick things off in a way that might be kind of interesting. As opposed to going through all these, facts and figures and all sorts of objective measurements and stuff like that, what I'm going to do is just take a couple of these devices that are on the table. I have my Sony 1000XM3 true wireless. I have the 1000XM4 over-ear headphones. I'm going to be using my iPhone, and I'm going to be using some wired earbuds. I'm just going to be reading off some random lines from Neil deGrasse Tyson's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Phosphorus comes from the Greek for light-bearing, and was the ancient name for the planet Venus when it appeared before sunrise in the dawn sky. This general flattening of objects that rotate is why Earth's pole-to-pole diameter is smaller than its diameter at the equator. On Earth, one way to make ball bearings is to machine them, or drop molten metal in pre-measured amounts into the top of a long shaft. While many objects have peculiar shapes, the list of round things is practically endless and ranges from simple soap bubbles to the entire observable universe. So the first device that you heard in those clips was my iPhone 12. Just kind of a control, something that you're probably used to hearing. The second device that you heard were the Sony 1000XM3 true wireless earbuds. After that, it was the 1000XM4 over-ear headphones. And after that were some Nokia wired earbuds that I got for free with a phone. This just illustrates the point of how much better wired is at carrying a signal from one place to another. And it illustrates the larger point that we're making sacrifices by building technology in a certain way. The really easy thing I can point out about the XM4s, the over-ears, is that these microphones are actually having to pull double duty. These cancel out noise really well. And the way that they do that is there are microphones on each side. These little grills up here are microphones. And the headphones are capable of, taking the outside noise and processing it and quieting it down. But when you actually use them to record with, that means that the microphones are up here. And the only way that you can try and get decent audio when you are recording like that is you have to use this microphone, and they have to try and find what is constant between the two of them. Where is your voice coming from? They try and position it in space, and then they try and artificially sort of cut out everything else that the microphones are hearing. And as you heard, you just get a very dead, dry, artificial, processed sound because of all the work that these are trying to do. The same kind of thing applies to the true wireless earbuds from Sony. Nowadays, people are working from home, they're doing classes from home. I mean, a lot of people need a decent solution so that they can hear meetings and things like that, and they also want to be able to speak and have their voice be clear. And I can't blame people for going out and spending a decent amount of money. These are both between $200, $250, I think was what the Sonys are, and then the over-ears are about $300. If you spend that kind of money on a device, you'd expect it to perform well for a lot of those tasks. And it's not that Sony is making bad products, it's just that this is a limitation with the actual technology that's being used. All of this segues us nicely into part of what you're paying for with Bluetooth devices. And a lot of that is that you're paying for simplicity and convenience rather than overall audio quality or microphone quality. The big appeal of these two devices is not that they have amazing sound and amazing mic quality or anything like that. It's that they are Bluetooth and they cancel out noise pretty well, and that they also have some special features that you can use on your phone. There's things like transparency modes, so you can hear voices around you. They're well built for their class, and they have pretty solid audio in comparison to what they're actually competing with. The problem is that in the mainstream we perceive these as kind of like the cream of the crop options. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you want to get good audio quality, you do not have to pay $200, $250 to get good sound out of earbuds. In fact, these are some TIN T2 Plus. These are wired earbuds, or they're called IEMs because they go in your ear rather than just kind of sitting outside of your ear. They're $60. They have, honestly, better audio quality in a lot of ways than the Sonys. The Sonys do have a little bit more bass, which some people will prefer, but these have so much more overall clarity, detail. They're built, out of straight metal. I've talked about these in some other videos before, but if you want to get good audio quality, the answer is not Bluetooth. Part of the reason for that is because there's a lot more complexity with Bluetooth devices. With these, you basically have 3 batteries. You have the case as a battery, each earbud is a battery, and they have to interact with each other and charge. You have a Bluetooth receiver in this. You have a microphone in each earbud. You have a touch panel to control things like play and pause on the earbuds. You have a sensor to tell when they're in your ear, so if you take them out, they can pause. You have the processing for audio, and then you have an entire app that had to be developed so that you can change different settings on these. And there's also all sorts of sound profiles and stuff like that. When you get done designing all of that stuff, there's not a ton of space to really put time into the actual design of either the sound quality of the earbuds or the microphone. The same sort of thing applies when you're talking about the XM4s. But then we can come over here to something like these. These are the AKG K371s. These are my favorite headphones that I own. I use them all the time. They stay at my desk. I use them to, if I really want to listen to music, I'll travel with these. These get a ton of use for me. I actually find them to be more comfortable than the Sonys. The pads are a bit softer and they just fit on my ears a little bit better. They don't cancel out quite as much noise because there's no active noise cancellation, but the noise isolation, which is physically blocking sound from your ears, is actually pretty good. It's enough to where if I'm sitting here, if my fan's going on my computer, or if there's AC is going on or something like that, those sounds don't really bother me when I'm actually playing music. In terms of audio quality, these are definitely more detailed and clearer to listen to music on. How much did they cost? $150. I've actually seen them for a little bit cheaper than that lately. The build quality is also fantastic. I mean, you have a lot of metal around here. There is a detachable cable. It uses a mini XLR. Comes with 3 different cables. I've traveled with these many times. Like I said, they sit around on my desk. I've never had problems with them even getting damaged. I've had these for a similar amount of time as the Sonys. Both of them are not showing signs of wear, but I use these quite a bit more. In addition to the added complexity, there's also actual audio quality loss that you get by going through Bluetooth. Now, the technology is getting better. There's advancements being made all the time, but ultimately, what most Bluetooth devices have to do when they're receiving a signal is compress it slightly. Reputable companies will show you which kind of Bluetooth codecs that they're using. Maybe it's something like AAC or aptX or things like that. And they have different clever ways of trying to hide the fact that they're processing audio to make that not very distinguishable to the actual user, but you're ultimately still getting quality loss. Something that you might hear audiophiles talking about is lossless audio files. So, if you use like Apple Music or things like this, you'll see lossless files, or there's FLAC files and there's things like that. There's different ways that you can get lossless music. And that's desirable because you're not really experiencing any loss of signal, any compression from the actual streaming services. I'm not personally all that crazy about lossless files versus compressed MP3s, things like that. But there is a definite audible difference that you get when you're listening to either a lossless or compressed file from your phone, and then you're taking that and compressing it again. It's almost like if you take an image on your phone or something like that, you download it and then you resave it and try and compress the size. There's a lot of detail that you lose. And frankly, because most people are using these devices with these types of streaming services, they're not really designed to show a lot of the details that you're missing. If you've ever taken a pair of wired headphones and plugged them into your phone, you might think that they sound pretty much the same. You probably didn't notice any difference in quality, even if you were looking for it. A lot of the times, headphones are actually designed to not show those details, because otherwise it would sound kind of gross and you'd hear the details that are missing. This is called resolution in headphones, and in the same way that a TV with higher resolution will show more detail, it means the same thing with headphones. The final point I want to bring up about Bluetooth devices is the aspect of longevity. When I buy things, I like them to last a long time, and I like them to be reliable, and I think most people want that as well. And something that I think a lot of people don't realize about the simple fact of lithium-ion batteries is that they do have a lifespan. This is the main reason that most people end up having to upgrade their phones every 2 or 3 years, whether they want to or not. The actual fact of lithium batteries is that when you're using them regularly, when you're recharging them, you're probably only going to get a couple of years out of them before they start to really degrade in terms of their ability to hold a charge. I don't really mind having to get a new phone every few years because the technology advances a lot, but when I find a good pair of headphones that I like listening to, the last thing I want to worry about is them randomly dying on me. You can try and charge things less frequently and use things a little bit less to get more use out of them. But honestly, buying a device and knowing that it's not going to be reliable while I'm trying to use it regularly is a big turnoff. I also like the simple fact that I can take any of these pairs of wired earbuds and I can plug them into any device I have around the house, whether it's a laptop, my Nintendo Switch, my iPhone with an adapter, or even my computer. If I can't find a pair of headphones for whatever reason, I know that I have this backup and it's going to take pretty much no time to actually get it connected and start using it. I think Bluetooth is really fantastic for some of those use cases where you just want to be able to throw something on, or maybe when you're working out, doing certain tasks. I understand why people like it, but for me, the pros do not outweigh the cons. And if you haven't spent $100 or $200 on a pair of wired headphones in a while, I think you'd be really impressed by how much more audio quality you get in comparison to a lot of the mainstream Bluetooth options. My main goal with this channel is really just to help people experience good audio without having to throw down insane amounts of money. And I'd be lying if I said that getting away from Bluetooth audio devices isn't one of the best ways that you can do that to start out. With all that said, I've been No BS Audio. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch you soon.